What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. This is our Wednesday weekly PSA update. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. I'm trying to set a new record here on how quick I can get this done. So we'll try to do this as quick as we can here. So, if you are not already familiar with this video, it comes out every week, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. I do an update on how many cards PSA graded the previous month or the previous week, and I keep a running tab, and then we go over the data and see what it is that they graded and how much of each category, so on and so forth. Again, this happens every Wednesday, so if you'd like to keep up with this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, or hit your notification buttons, all that good YouTube algorithm stuff. Also, if you do not already follow me on Instagram, follow me at Retro Hoop Collectibles, Retro Hoop Breaks. Also follow Collect 3D Prints. You guys already know what the deal is if you follow the channel. Collect 3D Prints is my brother's company where he makes these display cases for your slabbed, graded items, as well as items that are in a mag case. So you can check it out. The links, all this stuff is in the description below. Check them out on Instagram at Collect 3D Prints and also on at their website, collect3dprints.com. Okay, let's get into the numbers. Before we do that, let's get into... well, we're not opening anything. There we go. Let's get into complete through dates. So one of the things that I've been noticing is that PSA keeps throwing out this number of 40,000 cards a day. And while it's not ridiculously exaggerated, it's not exactly correct according to the numbers that I've been pulling. But somebody recently in one of the videos commented, hey, what about reholdering, which is like reslabbing cards? And I didn't even think about that, because that will not show up if they're reslabbing a whole bunch of cards or regrading a whole bunch of cards. That's not going to show up in the pop report, which is what I'm using to put together my numbers. And so I said, okay, well, if that's the case, then yeah, I can see where reslabbing or reholdering cards could make up that additional gap between what I'm pulling on a weekly basis and what they're saying that they're doing on a weekly basis. And it does jive, right? So I pulled the number, so this would be October 20th on reholders. They were at 117 with 90% of January complete. And just not more than a couple weeks later, here we are in the middle of February with almost all of February completed. So that tells me that they made a pretty significant jump in reholdering and reslabbing cards. So if you sent in, an error or something that needs to get reslabbed or whatever, that's kind of where that's coming from. So they made a big, big leap. That could contribute to the difference in numbers that I'm pulling versus the 40,000 a week that they're saying. So that made a lot of sense to me. I like it when numbers make sense, when they jive. One of the other things that I wanted to take a look at that made a huge leap is quarterly specials. So again, quarterly specials typically throughout this process, if you go back and watch some of the older videos, quarterly specials was one of the things that just did not get any attention. I mean, it was not moving. Quarterly specials, complete through dates, and completions were not moving. And it made a pretty big jump. So on October 20th, the complete through date for quarterly specials was October 28th, 2020, so almost a year. And within a matter of weeks, that jumped significantly to January 3rd, 2021. So, they're still, grossly behind. However, they made a pretty significant jump. So those of you that sent in your cards on quarterly specials at a heavily reduced rate, congratulations to you. We will never see prices like that again, in my opinion. But they're getting through quarterly specials pretty good. Also, collectors club vouchers. No, that didn't move too much. Collector club voucher didn't move too much, and then nothing else really moved too much. So all the value, the ultra modern, the modern, the vintage, and the TCG, none of that moved pretty much at all. Value modern moved a little bit from January 4th to January 10th. But again, didn't really move that much. Not really a whole lot going on there. The big things to talk about is the quarterly specials moving, big move in quarterly specials, and then a big move in reholders or reslabs. So that was a good point. Whoever brought that up, pat yourselves on the back. You're a smart cookie. Because I didn't think about that. Listen, guys, there's I make these videos. I make assumptions based on what I see. I don't edit any of my videos, so I don't have time to sit there and pontificate on the many different reasons why the numbers could be off. I don't really have time to do I don't do all of that, right? I pull the numbers, I give my initial gut check, my initial, knee-jerk reaction to the numbers, and then that's it. I don't really, speculate any further than that. I have my own reasons for speculating the things that I speculate, but I'm not gonna get it right all the time, and I have no problem being wrong. So please, if you guys see something in the numbers and it's like, whoa, that doesn't even, you didn't even think about this, or you didn't even think about that, please leave it in the comments, because I will consider it. And if it sounds like something that's intriguing enough, I will go do some research on it. And if I feel like you have a good point, then I'll bring it up in the next video. I have no problem being wrong. I have no problem changing my mind when confronted with new evidence. I'm pretty flexible in that regard. So, however, when I do have a conviction, I do stick to it until I'm presented with new evidence that can make me change my mind. So I want to put that out there, because I kind of feel like a lot of you are like, especially, and this may be some of just the new folks that are joining us, which is great. I encourage you to go back and look at some of my other videos. I'm pretty flexible with my thinking. So if you see something that's just wrong or off, please let me know. And if you have some insight, please leave it in the comments, because I do read all the comments. I don't really have time to get to all of them anymore, because there's several of you that are commenting, which is great. I appreciate it, but I do read them all, and even the ones that are the most intriguing, I do tend to try to get into. So here's the numbers for Halloween night. Admittedly, I pulled this. What time did I pull this? Probably closer to like 2 a.m. on Halloween night, which would really be November 1st. I don't think they're updating the pop report in the middle of the night on Halloween night. But I did do so. Again, this back to me being wrong and always willing to be wrong. You guys go check out Grunt Dad Sports. I'll leave his channel in the description. He does this as well, but he does it for a couple of other companies. I think he does HGA, he does SGC, Pure Graded X, RGX. There's a couple other companies that he does this for. I focus mainly on PSA, but he does it for a bunch of other companies. He did mention in the comments in the last video that some of my numbers were off, and it's not that my numbers were off. I just pulled them at a different date than he did. And for the sake of making sure that my numbers were accurate to the dates that I'm supposed to be pulling them to, I went and grabbed some of his numbers, because he doesn't pull everything. He just pulls like some of the bigger ones. So I did update some of my numbers. So those of you that got sharp eyes and are looking at 1024 and going, hey, that number is different than it was last month or last week, because I made some adjustments. So shout out to Grunt Dad. He's follower of the channel for a while, so I appreciate him doing that. It gives me an opportunity to kind of double check my work. At the same time, also make sure that my dates are aligned. So 167,000 last week, 148,000 this week. Again, the big thing there is probably going to be the reslabbing and the reholdering. Because really on a weekly basis, they're putting out, I mean, what do I have this set at? 7 days, 6 days? Yeah, that kind of makes it even worse, because if I was to change this to 7 days a week, we're really at 21,000 cards a week. But if we're changing it to 5 days a week, it's closer to 30,000 cards a week, plus whatever they're reholdering, which can be, I really don't know what they could be reholdering, but I know their potential, right? Their potential is here, right? They can do 200,000 cards a week. We know that. So what I'm starting to believe is that anytime we don't hit this, it's either because of reholdering, they're doing a bunch of reslabs, and then it could be they're doing a bunch of reslabs, and then it could, I don't know what else it could be. Maybe they're shifting capacity from one thing to another. Maybe they're taking people who are doing grading and then putting them on research. I really don't know, guys. Honestly, the reholdering kind of fills in a pretty good gap there. Because it's not uncommon for them to do 50,000 cards in a particular set, right? So like we've seen them before do 50,000 cards in a week. They did 52,000 here. We've seen it before, so it's not far-fetched that they can reslab, especially reslabs, where they don't really have to grade it. Maybe they can just re-slab it. So we've seen them do 50,000 cards before, so it's not far-fetched that the reason why this isn't 190 is because they re-slabbed 50,000 cards that week, or the reason why this isn't 190 is because they re-slabbed 30,000 cards that week, so on and so forth. So, the fact that the numbers dropped here significantly, and the last complete through date that we had was for Reholder was 117. So anything through the 17th as of the 20th, kind of makes sense as to right around this why their new additions to the pop report, which is what I'm basing my numbers off of, was low. So I'd still say they're churning out quite a bit of stuff. Now, that doesn't bode very well for those of us that are waiting on our cards to be newly slabbed. But it is what it is. They're working. The overall thing here is that they're working, right? They're working through this as best as they can from what I can see and from what I've been pulling. I did the video earlier on Nat Turner and his interview with the Card Talk guys. That was pretty good. So I'm hearing some good things from him. I'm seeing some good things in the numbers. When we'll go back to the $10 gradings, who knows? I just don't think that's going to be anytime soon. 150,000 this week is what they did. Why do I keep going back to this right here? 150,000 this week, which is pretty good. It's a far cry from where it used to be. I think the lowest point that I ever recorded was like 119,000, and now they're hovering right around 150, 160,000 a week over the last 6 weeks. Let me see, is that right? Yep, 165,000 average over the last 6 weeks. Pretty good. I'd say things are turning up. Update on my particular order that's sitting with PSA is in grading stage now. Hasn't moved since then. So probably the end of the year, maybe I might see my cards back for Christmas. Who knows? One thing that I do want to ask you guys, though, and this is something that I asked the guy who did the group submission for us, is if there is any confirmation that the complete through dates do not include group submissions. If that's the case, that's going to be a very hard pill to swallow, because that means that group submissions should be the bulk of what they're doing, and it's if it's not being taken into consideration in the complete through dates, then what does it matter? Unless they have a whole another group of people that are doing group submissions, and then a whole another group of people that are grading just regular person submissions. I don't know. But if you guys have any evidence of that, or anywhere where it's been confirmed or denied, let me know. Tag me in it. Yeah. Has your order moved at all? If you have an order that's been sitting there for a while in the last week, has it moved at all? Have you guys seen your cards go from, research to grading, or research to, post Q1 or quality, or whatever the case may be? If you have, let me know in the comments. I tried to keep this one short, but I failed miserably. There's just a lot to talk about, there's a lot to talk about. These are numbers, and you guys care about the numbers, and so do I. So to those of you that say that this could have been a 2-minute video, go watch another video then. What do you want me to tell you? Love you guys. Peace.